They met in 1946 when a 20-year-old comic walked up to a singer he barely knew and asked him a two-word question, "You workin'?" For 10 years, they were the biggest act in America. Nightclubs, radio, television, 16 films. Dean stood there handsome and unbothered and sang, and Jerry destroyed the room around him. And something about the two of them together worked in a way neither one of them ever managed alone. Then it came apart. Resentment on one side about being the good-looking prop, ambition on the other, and a final argument over a picture Dean didn't want to do. Dean's last words on it were "Start looking, boy." Their final show together was at the Copacabana in July 1956, 10 years to the day after their very first night on a stage. Then 20 years of nothing, not a phone call, not a letter. They were in the same town, in the same business, at the same parties, and they did not speak. Jerry couldn't stop talking about it in interviews for decades, in a way that made obvious he'd never gotten over it. He said losing Dean felt the way he imagined it must feel to be an amputee. Dean said almost nothing. That was somehow worse. September 5th, 1976. The Sahara in Las Vegas, the Labor Day telethon, hour after hour of it, and Frank Sinatra had announced he'd appear in person for the first time since 1953, which was already the biggest thing on the broadcast. What nobody knew was that Sinatra had smuggled Dean Martin into Ed McMahon's dressing room and hidden him there. Jerry's own son Gary caught a glimpse of Dean backstage, couldn't work out what was happening, and kept his mouth shut. Then Sinatra went out, said his piece, and told Jerry he had a friend who wanted to say hello, and Dean Martin walked out. Jerry Lewis froze. Then he went to him, and they held on to each other while a national television audience made a sound you can still hear on the tape. They didn't do a routine, they just stood there. Here's the part people leave out. It didn't fix it. Jerry made a few attempts afterward and got nothing back. The friendship stayed where it was. What finally ended the 20 years wasn't the telethon. It was 1987, when Dean's son was killed, flying a fighter for the Air National Guard. Jerry called, and this time, Dean picked up.